Welcome to the 1 0 podcast. I'm your host, Tom Skeen, along with every single Tuesday. You know who we got on? The man, the myth, Dante Reynolds, aka Don Dishes. How you doing today?
Doing well, Dom. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I mean, obviously, 1 month in the MLB season. We got five to go of the regular season. Hopefully, more after that. Today,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about. I mean, there is a huge prospect call up in baseball today. He's going to be making his debut in under 3 hours now. We've got, the Mariners, obviously a lot going on with Seattle's team. You've got, your first Midwest road trip of the season. You win four straight, lose one,
Yeah.
trying to get to 500 before the month of May. Not that, you got to get there by then, but that's something we got to talk about. Got to talk about some of these guys in the lineup, especially some of the right-handed hitters. Robert Refsnyder, Cal Raleigh from the right side, and the left side, and then even some of the lefties, Cole Young. We got a whole lot to get to, but first I wanted to ask you, Don, what was the stuff, when you think about this last week of baseball since we last talked, what stood out to you the most, just off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, I would say the things that stuck out to me the most were new guys showing up. New names showing up that I think people need to know that they're proven guys. Not so to say proven, but just that they can come through when their name is called, when they're on the lineup. When they're in a big situation. Also, with trying to stay at an at bat and using the ABS and hitting a home run, that's huge. And seeing that you can keep poised and stay strong through adversity. And we need those at bats. We need hundreds of those, right? So just little things like that we saw. I think those stood out to me. Cats showing their resilience, so to say.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
and as we say on this podcast, to go 1 0, you got to stay stoic. You got to make it about something bigger than yourself. Give all glory to God. So if you want to do those things, right, resilience is a key. You got to have, some level of like courage and some level of stick to itiveness. That's a great like scouting term that I like, right? The ability, perseverance. All these things are important, but um, the Mariners just okay. You go 5 games under 500. You come back and win four more, and then you're 1 game
Right.
out, and then right you're gonna lose a game here and there. Last night's game, I was kind of the only person it felt like in the Mariners space that, from what I'm seeing, that's saying maybe this isn't the worst thing with Luis Castillo. I mean, all the pitching analysts don't like this guy around baseball. All the Mariners kind of coverage is kind of really worried about where he's at. Um,
Mm.
but for me, I'm like, okay, Mick Abel, right? Before he went on the IL, he goes has 7 innings, 10 strikeouts, no walks. His first start of the season came in Minnesota in that ballpark, and the weather was terrible as it is usually early in the season, and he was
Right.
terrible. Now, Luis Castillo, I mean, you could single him out, but then you could also say, well, none of the 6 pitchers that pitched yesterday had especially good outings. And from Alex Hoppy's debut, where he strikes out the 3 guys, the first Mariner to ever do that in his debut, to on the other side, Connor Prelip and then Morris that they had, both giving up, some runs and stuff. Mariners obviously not having the bad ball luck go their way, so it didn't get as many hits. But this is just not an easy place to pitch in. So how do you feel about when you see something, you see, oh, here's the headline, here's the story that everybody's talking about, and then that like that moment where you're like, oh, but what's the real story here? Like, did Luis Castillo just get worse at pitching this year? Is he falling off of a cliff? Or like that little part of you that's like, but what if there's something more complex to this?
Yeah, I could see that being a thing. That voice. What's really happening here. I don't get that just on this personally. We've seen Castillo struggle before. This isn't. I mean, is it brand new news? I guess to ask people. I think he has spurts, and he will struggle, and then he will bounce back. Now, if he doesn't bounce back, then we can really talk about it. But going into, like you said, a tough park to pitch in, and you might struggle. You do struggle, and everybody struggled. I mean, I think we look too hard into it when a guy goes left and we really wanted it to go right and we thought it was supposed to go right for sure that time, right then, right now. And I think that's what's happening. We're just putting a lot of pressure on the right now, show up, prove it to me now, do it now thing. And you brought up a good point, man. It's a tough park to go pitch in, and just didn't go our way that time. But overall, we didn't show up. So there's good and bad there. But yeah, I mean, he doesn't show up now. He'll show up again. It's not the time to be like, man, is he done, or is he, has he jumped a cliff? I don't think that just yet, personally.
Absolutely. And I mean, the Mariners did go from what looked like beautiful weather in St. Louis on the weekend series.
Yeah.
There's balls flying everywhere. They go from that into this situation in, in Minnesota where, yeah, nasty weather. The game was nearly delayed or postponed. Instead, they just chose to play through the rain, which, it makes it tougher to, be agile to cut and stuff.
That's a fact. That's a
Do
fact.
you remember that game against the White Sox like several years ago at this point, where JP was slipping and sliding at shortstop in the infield dirt, and they scored like all
Not
these
really,
runs in
but
one inning? It was terrible.
he,
It destroyed Robbie Ray's ERA in April back then too, and I mean I was so upset that they were playing, playing through that type of storm. This wasn't anything quite like that. It was just it was light enough rain that they decided we're just going to keep it going. And
for
part of
sure.
me is like, oh, this team's on a 4 game win streak. You want them to keep playing. Like, you don't want them to stop playing for a day. You actually don't need this off day right now as much as, sometimes, you do need an off day. But it's like, I mean, thankfully, right, you're not playing a doubleheader today. You just got to go take care of 9 innings today. And, I mean, you got Logan Gilbert back up there, who he's had an interesting start to the season as well. But there's so many good signs under the hood for him. What do you see with these last 2 games of the Twin series? Just kind of with the vibes around the team and everything right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming off a good situation. We feel good. We're getting those series wins, and we're pressing forward, trying to, string those wins together, as I like to say, because a lot of ball clubs are doing that right now. So you want to start to string together wins now, in what I'd say is, the launching pad to the flow state, as we've talked about, just that early movement, and you definitely want to put them together. So to take that L is tough. And to go on the road, we got to remember these guys had to hop on the plane, had to pack all the things and go and do this, and that can disrupt the flow. And then you get nasty weather, then you get a turn in your, it might turn your energy. So to come back out and get it done is exactly what you have to do. But there's hurdles. There's things that that can light switch your energy, that can change the trajectory of things real quick. I think that's what we hit some turbulence, but I think we're hitting a stride. So we'll be all right. We're just, another test. See how we react.
Absolutely. And the Twins, just came from they were playing the Rays in Tampa. For
Mm,
what that's worth. Obviously, that's indoors. The Mariners come from beautiful weather in
right.
St. Louis. But then it is kind of funny. The Twins this year, a team that, I mean, I and some others, you look at that up and down that lineup, and you're like, this could be one of the worst offenses in the entire game of baseball. Just in terms of like they don't have, uh, like they're not clearly like ready to go and contend now. They're not quite as they're not clearly like down and out of it either. But it's like it can kind of go either way. And at home they're 8-6. Away from home they're 5-10. Kind of interesting. You look at even that Central Division with the Rust Belt teams, the Midwest teams. The Tigers are 10-2 at home and 5-12 away from home. You compare that with the Mariners. I mean, the Mariners have had most of their success
Facts.
at home, 10-7 at home, 4-9 away from home. Do you think that early in the season, playing at home versus away makes a bigger difference than it does in the summer months once you're already in the groove of things?
I mean, that's kind of a toss up, man. That's tough to say because there's some teams that have to do that all the time. Like the Yankees, and then they go away, and then their openers later, or whatever, even in. So some people have that as like their constant. And but to play home is always you want to, right? You love home. So I don't know. I think it depends on the players more than anything and the vibe of what we got going. I think if you got something that's just unbreakable, you just go somebody's park and turn it into your house, right? But if if you're still feeling things out and you want to get something going, you're still trying to link it up, then I think the home start is a good place to begin. And then just to have that, I guess you could write the book as a tried and true story if you have to start away what you wanted to be at home, and then you have early adversity, so to say, and then you come home and it launches you. So I don't know. It's like a choose your own story type of book with the way that it vibes, because it can go any way. It really can.
Absolutely. There's only let's see. There's only three teams that
Mm.
have a winning record in the AL away from home. Do you think you can guess what those three teams are?
Mm.
I can give you a hint. Mariners played one of them last week,
One of them last
and
week.
they've played two of these teams at home already this season.
For the Athletics.
Yep, the A's are 10-8 away from home. They're only 5-5 at home. Surprising because
Mm.
that offense, right, built for that ballpark in
Yeah,
Sacramento, the
for
crazy minor
sure.
league
Well,
ballpark. But it's funny
yeah.
because they came here and then their pitchers kind of found their saving grace getting to pitch in a pitcher's park for once. Um, so would be
Dang.
my theory there.
Okay, well, good for them. They're up.
Yeah,
That's what's up. Well, at least away, they're up.
exactly. They're eight
Yeah.
and eight at home, or sorry, five and
Mm.
five, actually, 8-8. But
Yeah.
anyway, the other two, I can tell
Yeah.
you,
What are the
they
other two?
are
Yeah.
they're in the AL East. The
Mm.
first one being the Yankees,
I
11
should
and
have
five
never
away from
said the
home.
Yankees.
I mean,
Yeah.
they've got the best
They
record
just
in.
do it all the time too, I think. I feel like they start their season outside of the Bronx a lot. And then they come back and they're like spreading the news and they're hyped up. Just like this season. Like they took wins away and brought them home, and yeah. I don't
Oh
want
yeah,
to I'm not trying to big up the Yankees, but I'm just saying they do that away thing. They do that.
the
They do that.
Yankees are pretty good. Like, I hate to say it,
Yeah,
but
yeah, they're good.
like
Yeah,
two
they're
of my
good.
favorite breakouts in the AL, Cam Schlittler and
Right.
Ben Rice.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
Yankees is what it
Good
is.
is good,
So
man. Good is good. Yeah.
good is good. Yankees. I mean, best record in the AL by just 2 wins. You know who has the second best record in the AL right now?
Hmm.
It's the last team on that list who's got a winning record away from home.
Who's that?
I'll give you a hint. They were picked to finish last in their division by
Oh, what?
a long
Last?
shot this season.
Oh no.
Second best record in the AL. Yankees have 19 wins. This team has 17 wins. The rest, then there's three teams on 15 wins.
That's terrible that I don't know. Who is it?
No, I didn't know this until I looked it up either because standings in April are
I'm
like
just like,
there's no point in looking at the
what?
standings in April. People are like, oh, we need to gain this game and a half back right on the Athletic. We're 2 games back of the Athletics. We need to gain this ground of the
And
Athletics
I'm
by
like,
the end
who
of
did they say
April.
would be last? I'm just like, that's what's racking my brain.
It is
Ah,
okay. It is also the team that helped us out in the Brendan Donovan deal that we traded one of my favorite Mariners to before the season. And we just
no.
traded Casey Legamina to them last week.
Oh,
Right
I
after
did
we did
see
the
that.
pod.
I
Right
did
after
see
we did the
that.
pod talking about Casey.
I know.
Unfortunately,
I
they
saw.
DFA him and then trade him to the Rays.
That
Uh,
is so much sadness, brother.
But it
Yeah.
is the Tampa Bay Rays, the team that
That was so
perennially
sad.
it is sad. And
Shout
hey,
out, look at me, man.
shout out to Casey, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we appreciate everything you gave us here, and I
Oh,
mean, he
for
found
sure.
the
Love.
best landing spot for himself because former Mariners, especially former Mariner relievers, going to the Tampa Bay Rays, they've got a pretty good history there.
Man.
But the Tampa Bay Rays, the Yankees, all high profile, right? If we don't win the World Series, it's a failure. The famous George Steinbrenner quote. You got the
That's a
Orioles brought in Pete Alonso, traded for Shane Baz. This is with all these young stars they have, Gunnar Henderson trying to win, compete for MVP.
I'm gonna.
I mean, Kyle Bradish and Trevor Rogers looking like they could be all stars towards the back end of last year. Obviously not the best start to this year. Then you've got the Blue Jays, right, lost the World Series by the smallest of inches.
Yeah, man.
You've got
Close.
the Red Sox, who we're going to get to the Red Sox in a minute. Everything that happened with them this
Yeah.
past week, because that was definitely pretty crazy in terms of culture, which we like to cover here. But the Rays were picked, the only team who didn't make major moves saying we want to win now this offseason. They made moves for like Ben Williamson. They made moves for, I don't know. I mean, recently Casey Legamina, right? This team is
Right, right.
this team. I mean, they brought Jake Fraley in, who's injured now, but to be a starting outfielder for them. And I was joking before the year, like this team got all the scrappiest guys. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, they
yeah,
got the guys who foul off the pitches. You know, they got the guys who do all the little things right. They didn't bring anybody with power speed combo, guys like that in. So what do you think of the fact that the Rays, who seem to have a really strong culture? I mean, if you watch one of their games this year, they look like they are fighting tooth and nail, but they do not have that,
Hey, man.
sort of massive talent influx. What do you make of the fact that through April,
Yeah.
this team is the second best in the AL behind the Yankees?
I mean, that's pretty impressive, man. I didn't see that coming. I mean, I didn't even look into that at all. But I think we see it more than we want to admit that when a squadron or a team or a platoon, football, basketball, any athletic sport, when a team is just rallied behind playing the game and the egos don't seem to be there and it's just like we're playing for our brothers or sisters or you're just trying to get the W, that team usually competes pretty well. You know what I'm saying? Like beats out a lot of other teams with these big contracts, big things going on that bring, some of those subtle cracks and issues that, keep you off your path. So I think we see it a lot more than we're used to. So it's good to see, and hopefully it can sustain. I mean, that's what's going to be tough, because sometimes you can get it up early, and then those big powers will come back to life, and you can't fight all that star power that some places have with the scrappy cats all the time. But hey, man, we'll see.
I think I have to say, right, I know this is a Mariners focused pod, we're Mariners guys, but
Yeah,
the this team is right now is embodying the 1-0 mentality as well as any, because we talked a few weeks ago about how they swept the Yankees, right? Oh, what's going on with the Rays? How did
yeah,
they sweep the Yankees, right? They got a couple of hitters getting hot. Then right after that, they went
it's
and swept
unbelievable.
the White Sox. I think they were getting like they were hovering around 500, trying to get back to 500 at that point. They go and
Mm.
they lose a series, lose 2 or 3 to the Pirates. Then they lose 2 or 3 to the Reds. Since then, they just swept the Twins, who were the Mariners are facing now. Have been due for a win. And then they beat the Guardians yesterday as well. So, like, we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Oh, they have a good series, sweep the Yankees. You don't realize that that's going to add up into being second in the AL until the wins just keep piling up, and then you get on a little bit of a hot streak. You win 5, and all of a sudden you go from they were 12-11 last week, and now they're 17-11, and that is the embodiment of 1-0, because 1-0 is 1-0 every day, right? We're gonna go 1-0 today, and then that's gonna add up, and they just keep doing that, and now it's adding up. So shout out to the Rays, and shout out to them for not
Yeah.
having. I mean, the players that they have, like I only watched them really. I've watched them twice this year. One time with the Twins, when it was terrible weather, like the Twins opening series. I think they were playing them in Minnesota, and then one time, Noah Schultz debut, which we were talking about here. The White Sox 6'10" pitcher, uh, where he has to face off against this one of the scrappiest lineups in the sport. Obviously, Junior Caminero, the big star that they have. Yandy Diaz, a
Yeah.
veteran. Chandler Simpson got off to an incredible hot start. But then Jonathan Aranda even been an all star. But like Shane McClanahan hasn't even been at his best. Drew Rasmussen has, and is, I don't know if you can call him underrated. He's just not as big of a name, but if he stays healthy, he's gonna be an all star pitcher. Um,
Mm.
Veteran guys like Cedric Mullins, doesn't have the same kind of pop, that doesn't have the same excitement of, that name once did, but he's out there performing.
Hey,
This
same
guy,
player, same
Ryan,
player, man. Yeah.
Ryan Valade. Have you heard of this guy, Ryan Valade? Neither did I until I
No.
was watching Schultz debut, and this dude was like, I forget, he like walked or singled or doubled or something.
Mm.
Never, no great stats to speak of, in any
Right.
way, shape, or form. But I watch him. You're right. He hits a double, and then he gets home on um, like a wild pitch, and he's just screaming across the plate like, yeah, just like that's the type of juice that you need to
You
get out of
need
these
that.
April slumps to get going early in the
Yeah.
season. And then obviously what they do with the pitching, right? If I go and read you the Rays bullpen, you're probably gonna know maximum one name in there, but they're all gonna be good
Maybe.
because
Yeah, I don't know.
The Rays pitching lab produces guys that you've never heard of or that you would never think are even on the Rays because you haven't heard about them in years. And then eventually, and then
Right.
somehow now this guy's pitching in high leverage against Aaron Judge and Ben Rice. Um, anyway, yeah, Rays kind of one of the surprises early in the season right now. We'll see if they keep it up.
Yeah.
They going at the Guardians today, and on the other side of that matchup, in just under, just about just a little over 2 hours now, we've got one of the biggest prospects in baseball making his debut, Travis Bazzana. Have you heard about Travis Bazzana, the Australian
I haven't.
second base
I have not.
prodigy for the
I have
Guardians?
not.
All right. Well, let me tell you as I tell the people about Travis Bazzana. So, he was the number one pick 2 years ago. Travis Bazzana, and he's Cleveland's number one prospect. He's the number 16 prospect overall in baseball, making his debut today, like we said. 2024 draft. So, who was number one last year in the draft? Do we even remember? It was
I do not.
ahead of Kate Anderson. 2025 MLB. Not us forgetting. Oh, it was
The Googles. The Googles.
yeah, it was Eli Willits.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
There we
for
go.
the Nationals.
Yeah. We'll
Um,
figure it out.
so didn't know much about him, but like Travis Bazzana was probably the most I've known about any number one pick because I went to Washington State. I think I might have even told this story on here before, but went to Washington State. Right, their baseball program, is what it is. You play in really cold temperatures in like the end of February, beginning of March. It's like freezing, like actually freezing, and the West Coast's like big powerhouse in baseball is Oregon State. So they come into Washington
Right.
State, first home game of the season. Everybody's trying to be optimistic, and it's freezing cold. Stuff that you would never experience in Seattle at a baseball game. And I see Oregon State's team. They've got Cooper Hirpi, who is like a big college pitcher, really solid college pitcher, one of like the top pitchers in college baseball at the time. They had some other guys who were really good on that Oregon State team. But I'm just watching this game and I'm like, who is this? Like this second baseman. And I know now it's going to sound like these are the types of stories that now, sound too convenient to be true. But I'm like this second baseman looks like he should be on the football team. Like he's got this build of like crazy athlete, right? And his name is Travis Bazzana. So I look him up. He is a true freshman. He's 18 years old at that time, and he is playing. He's playing second base. He looks like he could play whatever he wanted, right? He's like
Yeah, for sure.
like that kid on the team who's like, what do you play? I play first base and second base and shortstop, right?
Yeah.
Who like thinks he could play every position. This dude is that guy. He's only 5'11", 199, but he looks like bigger than it. He's like super jacked, just like one of those like super different level of athletes. And I
Yeah.
watch him in the freezing cold in Pullman, Washington. This is not where you want to be hitting a baseball. He hits it way out of the stadium, obviously with the metal bat in college, but he got this crazy power. Not the biggest, like tallest guy ever, not like Aaron Judge, but like, I'm trying to think of like an incredibly like ripped second baseman, like a shorter but like super ripped second baseman. Have to come back to that one because right now you've got like
Yeah.
the Jazz Chisholm kind of Slender Man types. You got the
Yeah, for sure. That's usually the way it works,
super
at that
stocky.
position.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to be honest, like Bazzana, right? He's kind of similar to Cole Young in the dimensions, But then imagine Cole Young with like Cole Young on steroids, literally.
Mm.
Is like, you know, like this guy's just got more strength development. Looks a little bit older than Cole Young, even though he's a year. I guess he is a year older than Cole Young, so that makes sense. But from Oregon State, I mean, as soon as I saw this guy in college baseball, I'm like, this guy looks different. You know, he's from Australia, one of the only guys ever. You know, shout out Ryan Roland Smith. You know, paving the way from guys from Australia, but like one of the only ever players from Australia. And I mean, he's like his best tool is his hit tool. He's gonna get a whole lot of base hits. The power is, you know, questioned because of the size, but like that could develop over time. You know, again, he's still only 23 years old. Only
sure.
been a pro, you know, for a little, not even 2 years yet. You know, like a year and a half. Um, the run tool is also 60 grade, so 60 tool hit grade, or 60 hit tool, you know, 60 run tool. The hit was 65 last year. They moved it down because they're worried about, like, he seems to be getting the most out of like the way that he contacts the ball, launch angle type stuff. Um, and I mean, he comes in right. Cleveland had like Brian Rocchio and the other name has escaped me, but they had kind of a mishmash of guys playing second base. Uh, Cleveland's got a pretty good team. It's going to be interesting to see his debut today. What do you make of the fact that we got the number one second baseman, number one second base prospect in the MLB debuting today?
Yeah, I'm checking out his highlights over here on the side, and he definitely looks like a problem. I think people will they'll mistake that short stature and try to say or look at it like there's no power there, but you can obviously tell the kid's got power, and then you see him hit. It's pretty ridiculous. So I mean, that's what I'm watching on the side here. I'm just, you know, taking it in. Plus, they're really showing him as a menace on the bags. I mean, it shows in college
He
he's disrupting pitchers like crazy, and he's taking extra bags off of that multiple times in this highlight reel. So yeah, I think they got him. They got a diamond in the rough. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's up. I'd love to see what he does for sure.
That's what I expect him to be too. I mean, he's got 8 stolen bases and just 117 plate appearances in the minors so far. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he's hitting 287, this year, but like a 252 career minor league hitter. Like, last year's average wasn't maybe as good as you want. The OPS still up in the 800s career, and this year 933. But when he does get on base, yeah, he is going to steal. Because that run tool is the most premium tool he has. The power at only 55 is like, that's more like 20 homer type power. Like if you can develop it right. So this year, like if I was gonna project right, I would say like, okay, I'd project fifth, like, I mean, 15 to 20, like probably 20 homers. I would project 25 stolen bases at least for this guy. Like, even though he's coming up now, I think he's going to be stealing a lot of bags. And the batting average is the question because he's got this good hit tool. How good is it going to be against major league pitching? That is always the question.
Right.
I mean,
That's true.
we saw Jared Kelnick deal with this. We've seen Julio deal with it. Cole Young, every
Definitely a part of the
prospect.
development.
Like, how many prospects get off to a ridiculous hot start? Even Mike Trout had to get sent back down to the minors after coming up for a
Yeah.
month before then he hits 326 and, breaks out like that. But, and we saw Connor Griffin, right? The number one prospect in all baseball
Yeah.
a couple weeks
You put
ago.
you put me on to him. Yeah, I had to do the lookups on that kid too.
Yeah, and he's just,
Different.
he's struggled with the bat early on. He's found some
Yeah.
success going, 2 for 4 here and, 1 for 4 there. But it's like, it's going to take a little bit to get used to it. So I'm going to say the average,
Right.
more around the 250 like range. 260. I'll go 260, for the 60 hit tool. But yeah, Travis Bazzana, got to go watch that debut for him today. He is going to be batting 7th for the Guardians. So I don't know. All of a sudden, you look at this lineup, right? Stephen Kwan, Chase DeLauder. We saw what that dude did, earlier this year to us as a rookie. Jose Ramirez, future Hall of Famer, Kyle Manzardo, that who actually was playing on the other side of that game when I watched him at Washington State. It was Kyle Manzardo versus Travis Bazzana. Now they're the first and second base tandem. How funny is that? Then
That's funny.
Daniel Schneemann. Oh, which by the way, did you see what happened with Daniel Schneemann hitting a homer yesterday? So I might prompt you, and you might have seen this, but he hits a home run yesterday, and there's this dude in Cleveland in the outfield who it bounced off his hands, and then it bounces right in front of the little girl. Yep,
I did see that. Yeah,
bounces
man,
in front of the little girl, and he fucking he takes it, and then and then
that was ugly to see, bro. Ugly to see.
Rays broadcast came and gave these little girls this little girl and her brother each a baseball, and that was the Rays broadcast who did that at an away game at the Guardian Stadium, at Progressive Field. So then this guy, I mean, and they were crying more after they received these baseballs, because they appreciated the gesture so much.
Yeah, for sure.
Then later on, apparently, after a whole lot of heckling and people kind of, talking, being upset with the guy, he did give him the ball later in the game, but it still stands. And I mean, we talk about, right, getting baseballs, right? You get a baseball at the ballpark. I've got this baseball at the ballpark a couple weeks ago, right?
Heck yeah.
You like to get baseballs. You like to get on the board, right?
100%.
Are you ever now? And if you catch a home run on the fly, right? If this comes and I catch it on the fly, that's my home run.
Yeah.
That's fair.
All day
right?
long.
I don't have to give that to a kid. But if it bounces off my hands into the lap of a youngin, I'm not gonna go and dig and just steal that from the
despicable. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's despicable. Now, if it bounces off your hands and it's traveling and you travel to it and you and somebody else are trying to get it popping for the ball and it was in play and you're trying to get to it, that's fine. But this wasn't even close to that. Homie had his chance, he blew it. Basket catch and everything, blew it. It was, bro, she had it. You can't take it from a child, let alone anyone. You know what I'm saying? That was just tough to see. Because I'm a ball hawk, you know that, and I'm tough to give up my ball to anybody. But yeah, if you blow it, man, and the kid's got it, that's clap it up and walk away. This guy grabbed it and then he celebrated it. I'm replaying it, and he celebrated it. It's dude, you did nothing less than evil. So yeah, you can't be like that.
I mean, if you get the ball, even in this scenario, right? Let's say that bounce off your hands, you're following the ball and you don't even see, your tunnel vision, you don't see that the kid's there and stuff. You pick it up and then you might see that the kid's right there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you might be oh, okay, right. You pick it up, and then you're all right, here you go. But instead, right?
Yeah, you got some.
Yeah, and then
you got some decisions to make there though. So I'm with you. I do. I feel for that. But I will play devil's advocate 10%, because if it was a Julio or something crazy, and this home run and I get it, and I didn't see this kid and I get it, and I see the kid, it's love. I'm excited. But I'm gonna need the kid to say, "Can I have that ball?" If it wasn't in their hand, I'm gonna say, "Can I have it?" Or, "Oh, can I?" I'm gonna need that. I'm not gonna get. You're not gonna hit me with the face and be like, "That was mine," because this one was hers. This one was dead to rights. That was hers. He grabbed it out of her hand, bro. You can't. Yeah. You can't go into physical contact. That was really awkward. So. Yeah, but I'm a menace too. I have to get 3 before I give up one. I'm weird.
If there's a ball traveling 110 miles into the seats, and I think it's fair game to, if you stretch wherever you want to catch that ball, right?
Facts.
You don't have to. Oh, I'm not going to catch this baseball, right? So that this kid can catch the baseball, because the kid, it might hit them in the face, right?
Oh yeah, no, don't do that. You don't last minute move. That's crazy.
So,
don't do that.
there is a happy medium to this,
Oh, for sure, for sure,
but at
for
the
sure.
at the end of the day, too, you sometimes as an adult you got to remind yourself like, okay, why am I collecting baseball cards? Why am I, getting baseballs, right? Why do I even care about the souvenirs and all this stuff? It's
This is
because
the thing.
baseball, I fell in love with baseball as a kid, and I
Hmm.
love baseball. But as an adult, it's like, wow, it's cool to have an MLB baseball. But
No
it's
doubt,
not like when you're a
no
kid, it's
doubt,
like, wow, I have an MLB baseball, right? That's
for
like
sure,
a much bigger
for
deal.
sure.
And
Oh yeah, it can be. Now I'm gonna always play the other side. 'Cause I'm telling you, I'm the worst. But bro, it's an MLB baseball. It's an MLB baseball. It's an MLB baseball. It's a Julio baseball. Like
oh
I'm a
no.
freak. I'm a freak, bro. I'm a freak. So I'm down to give it to the children, and I do. I share the love, but I definitely need like a hey, can I get that or something if I got it. And I give away the freebies sometimes, but I'm pretty bad, bro. I'm pretty bad. Now, if I'm at a different ballpark and it was their team, like say I was at that game and it was a Tampa guy and I was, on the other team, I'm giving that to that kid all day. I don't even want that ball. Why would I do that? That's ugly. That's greed. But if it's my dog, like JP hits a home run, I catch it, bro, and this kid is just staring at me like he deserved it. I don't know. I might even look at him like, you want to ask for it, because I'm all about manners too. So
I'm
I'm
with
a
that too.
weirdo.
Like
I'm a weirdo.
you can't, not ask for it or anything.
Yeah, I just need a hey, what's up.
Yeah, if I'm there too, like I'm not, making my express goal to get a ball, right?
For sure.
Like sometimes, I'll if I get a baseball, I get a baseball.
Right.
Love to get on the board, each year, but I'm there, like if I see kids that are like really wanting a ball, I'll be like, no,
Mm.
go down there, right? I'll help them. I'll
Oh
blueprint it for
yeah.
them. And
Yeah,
every
yeah.
time
Show them the way. Show them the
people
way for sure.
stand up behind the dugout, right on the Mariners side, at the end
Mm.
of the inning, right? I'll be trying to point towards kids, right? Like this kid wants to be. I'm never like,
That's
go on, give it
awesome.
to me, right? Like,
That's
because
awesome. Yeah.
what's the point, right?
Hey, yeah, I feel you. I'm a freak. I'm the guy saying, "Hey, I'm here." Like, I have to be so honest and transparent. Like, I miss the squad. I miss Seattle, and I definitely miss going to the games and seeing the fellas and them tossing me a ball because they know I'm there for a ball, and they'll toss me a ball to give a ball to a kid because they know I'll pass it on. But I won't lie to you, bro. If I go to a game, like it's in my soul. Like I just know I'm gonna get a baseball. It's weird. Like I move around the park just to feel out where a hitter's hitting, and I'll go and my friends are like, "Where's Don?" There he is. He's trying to get a ball, and then in an inning, and so I'm back. Like, yeah, I got a foul ball or something. So it's I'm a freak. I just love it. I love it. I chase him down.
Almost as much as I love swinging strike rates.
Word. Yeah. See. Yeah. It's like
Yeah,
that. Yeah. It's like the love of the stats. Yeah, man.
but
It's the love.
anyway, so Guardians, right? They've got this lineup. Angel Martinez. That's a player that, like, every time I've watched Angel Martinez, I remember. I don't know if it was his major league debut or he'd just been in the majors for a couple games, but playing at T-Mobile, I was like they came into town last year, and I'm like I just like this player. Like he's got some speed, he's got some size, he's got some a little bit of power. Like there's something here, and he's never been much of a prospect. Doesn't have this insane profile that suggests he's going to be great for years to come. But I could see this guy having a career year and it being interesting. And
Yeah.
Angel Martinez is just a player I like watching play. And he's built
Word.
like a running back. Like he's built like he has that kind of. Um,
Beast
I
mode, huh?
yeah, he's got some athleticism. He's a player that you look at and it's like this guy's athletic. Like he could fool you into thinking he was once a
Oh,
top
that's a
prospect.
fact. Yeah, no, that's a
Um,
fact.
and look at us spending 40 minutes talking about the Rays and the Guardians.
Hey man, some of these cats are doing work, and these teams just have some pieces that you can't go without showing it love. And I love that we are talking about these pieces now, and then we can check back in later and see how things are going because it's cool to see these guys doing work now, but to attest to the season and the title of it, one down many more to go. So yeah, it's just getting started.
Amen to that. And so after 40 minutes of talking about everything else, let's talk Cal
Yeah,
Raleigh. Because I said,
sure.
right, okay, obviously he's like swinging and missing. If you watch it, right, he's just swinging and missing early in the season. Now he's hit 5 homers in 7 games. He looks on point to me. Do you have anything to say about what you like? What have you seen from Cal this past week? Seeing those home run swings, just seeing what he does. Like, what have you noticed in Cal Raleigh and in the perception, in the culture around Cal Raleigh?
I think the perception, once you do what he did, hitting the long ball that way, people always are going to want to see you do it again. It's like, seeing Michael Phelps get all those medals. You're just like, this guy is just going to be golden every time that he pops into the situation that he gets in. But for me, it's just seeing that this guy, like we talked about, would have to force better at bats. He'd have to do different things. He'd have to create for himself so he can get those pitches because no one's gonna just give him meatballs with sauce to the stars. Like no one's trying to do that. So looking at it here, him trying to get these RBIs up and forcing the slugging up. Hey, he's trying to come into his own and figure out how he's approaching it, because he's forced to do that. So I think a lot of people are still really upset with him not hitting a bunch of boomers, but you see it now. You see the flashes. It's not like he completely lost his ability to do what he does. I think he's just got to figure out his game for this season, and that comes with these months ahead.
Absolutely. And to add on to that, right, we talked about, oh, like it seems like he's taking, having to take these longer at bats and stuff. I want to go back to one of my favorite, kind of one of the most underrated stats in sort, just looking at hitting, which is pitches per plate appearance. Because I know when he hit his first homer off Jacob DeGrom, he was like second or third in all of baseball. He's now ninth in all of baseball in pitches per plate appearance. Some of the leaders up here are hitters just like him who have been, starting out cold and then kind of getting on hot streaks recently. Number one in all of baseball. Do you want to take a chance at guessing who number one in baseball might be? The
Number
Mariners played
one
against
in
him this past.
baseball.
The Mariners played against him this past week, and he hit multiple homers.
See, that's how uncaught up I am. Multiple homers on us, dude. I don't like hearing that. Nah,
Uh,
who is it? You guys tell me.
Nick
It's tough.
Kurtz,
Ah, that's tough.
who I mean, rookie of the year,
That's a
37
wicked
homers.
stat.
Oh yeah, I mean because what it shows
Four
you,
point two five pitches. Okay.
yeah, Cal right now is on
Cal, yeah,
4.38, and then
sick.
Nick Kurtz is on 4.6. So up there as well. You got Will Smith of the LA
Right.
Dodgers winning homer of the World Series last year, 4.5. You got Aaron Judge, number three, 4.49. I mean, Cal Raleigh, number ninth, right up there too. Riley Green, 4.38, tied with Cal. Matt Olson, 4.39. So a lot of the better hitters in the game, I think teams are realizing, like the way that we can just pitch to this guy is let's just pitch around him. Let's force him to have these long at bats. Don't give him anything to hit. I mean,
Right.
I couldn't count how many times like teams in the beginning of the season were meeting at the mound. Every time Cal had runners on scoring position, every time he had a big moment, um, like it seemed like the entire game plan was we're gonna let anybody else beat us, just not that guy. And it worked for
Mm,
a while. And now Cal Raleigh is just he just sees a couple pitches and the swing looks perfect when the ball flies. But even when
mm.
he was whiffing on a lot of these pitches, he was just a little bit over, a little bit under. It's not like he was completely changing his swing. Uh,
Right.
so I think yes, Cal Raleigh is just fine. He has always been just fine. Uh,
Yeah.
it just kind
Just
of
acclamation. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Just acclamation. That's it. Now watching a guy like you said over exaggerate the swing, break the swing, reinvent the swing. We're watching a guy have to, count his p's and q's because he's only gonna get like a half a pitch to see, and that sounds ridiculous, but it feels right because he has to force that. You know what I'm saying? He has to force a full at bat. It's nuts.
Absolutely. And you know who the most surprising name I see when pulling up this leaderboard is?
Hmm.
It's somebody who we wanted to talk about today. So I see. Okay, Ben Rice is on here, right? Gunnar Henderson, not the best start to the season average wise, but he's hitting a lot of homers. Mike Trout starting off hot. Okay, you got Roman Anthony, who's struggling to hit for average and power, but like it looks like his at bats are still just as long and meticulous. Ben Rice, we have mentioned, I mean that
Ben
dude's going to
Rice.
start the All Star game this year, but
Yep, young Yank.
I got to talk about the fact that I would never guess Munetaka Murakami, 28th in
Really?
all of MLB in pitches per plate.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was.
4.2,
Yeah, man.
4.2
That
flat.
kid, that's a bad man. That's a bad man. Yeah, nuts, right? What's that? 12 home runs before May as a rookie? That's yeah, what? If nobody's talking about him, they need to. And he's hitting rocket ships. Rockets. Like
I mean,
boom, bruh.
he
Like
is.
crazy work. Crazy work. Strength, we are talking about hit strength or whatever. Yeah, I think if he's a Pokemon, that kid's got the top HP, bro. He's nuts. Yeah.
He's
Nuts.
third in the majors in strikeouts, tied for third with Gunnar Henderson, 41. But he leads all of MLB in homers. He's got 12 for the month
Hey,
of
you gotta
May.
swing. You gotta swing to hit a home run. Like, oh, somebody who's a dog, an ancient dog in the game, and I hate that I'm not remembering his name. But he was saying he struck out a whole bunch the year that he,
Babe
was
Ruth.
an MVP. Yeah, see, so come on, man.
He
Like
led the
you have
majors
to
in
swing.
strikeouts all
Yeah,
time.
it's all right to strike out if you start figuring it out. At some point you just gotta turn it over. You can't strike out every single time. So yeah, man, that guy's that's a hitter. That's a hit. He's figuring his way out.
There's only
Shout out to the
18.
Sox.
Yeah, no, there's only 18 players with 7 homers or more. So Cal's now 18th in the league in homers and climbing.
Yeah.
I mean, Drake Baldwin, right? He's hitting 311. Looking like the best. I mean, he could produce the best catcher season, hitting wise. Oh, actually, Shea Langoliers on 8 as well. He's hitting 304. So there's some catchers. Will Cal end up being the guy who hits the most homers in baseball at the catcher position this year? If he doesn't, it's because there's other catchers hitting more than 40 homers. And I mean Hunter Goodman also Rockies is on 7 as well. So there's like
Hey,
three.
them Rockies were putting up a fight. They're
They
fighting,
were
man.
putting up a fight.
Are
Are they still? Are they still?
Hey, man, I hope they do well. I love a good turnaround story. I
Me
hope they
too.
can. I hope they can. They can muster it out. I love seeing them do well.
This is like when you're talking to when you're talking to a coach about a player, right? Trying to help him get recruited, and they're it's like, oh yeah, great kid,
Yeah,
Great
good
kid.
energy.
love him, man. I love this kid,
Yeah.
because they're not,
Tough.
yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely not. They're not looking great, but
I mean, they're
great
13
kid.
16. Mets and Phillies both on 9 wins still, right?
Oh
in the NL
yeah,
East.
we gonna talk. We want to talk about that. That
Well, before we do talk about that, so the Mets, the Mets obviously in this slide and stuff, but let's talk about the Red Sox first, because the
oh,
Red
yeah,
Sox
yeah.
decide, on a day where they put up 17 runs, they win 17-1, have their best offensive game of the season over the Orioles. That's when they decide to fire manager Alex Cora and his entire staff.
Mm.
And then the players come. Did you see the quotes that the players were coming out with the next day?
No, I didn't.
So
I didn't even look them up. Yeah,
the
I
Red
couldn't
Sox.
believe that it happened.
Yeah. So here's what Red Sox players said after Alex Cora's firing. I want to find the one from Trevor Story. Yeah. Trevor Story said, "I was shocked by the decision. I think is a fair way to put it. Those are some of the best coaches in the world. Obviously, our performance on the field kind of cost them their job. uh, some of the direction needs to be cleared up a little bit, in my opinion. Um,
Mm.
oh yeah, or no, there was one where he said like, they made it very. Oh yeah, Garrett Whitlock of Team USA said they made it clear that we get paid to play baseball and we didn't need to just focus on playing baseball. It doesn't sound like they were happy with the decision
Mm.
that was made.
Yeah.
And it sounded like they like him, like they liked their manager. So
Right. They didn't want him to go. Yeah. Dang,
yeah,
that's tough. That's tough, man. Yeah, it's coming from the top though. It's business. There's nothing you can really do about that. It's just like if, it was the other way around, the shoe was on the other foot and, one of those position players got traded or moved. Doesn't matter how much you like the guy or how much you love being, clubhouse mates and had a handshake. Homie's got to pack his things and go. So
it's a
tough to see.
business.
It's
And
a business,
honestly,
yeah.
with Casey
Ugly but
Legamina
true.
too, right? It's like
Yeah, yeah.
like somebody loses their job, right? It kind of lets everybody know, like it kind of makes everything
Yeah.
pretty serious pretty quickly.
That's a
It's like
fact. Yeah, I mean it's a reminder. It's like it's like when unfortunately, loss or you lose somebody in life, it'll remind you how precious life is. So, when somebody gets let go and they've been given opportunities, of course, it wasn't because of no opportunities, let's remember. So you get opportunities, you're playing the game and you get let go. Just reminds you that you gotta tighten up and that you can, it can be gone. This thing can change or alter and in a blink of an eye.
absolutely. Um, One other thing, the fair ball foul ball with Ty France. This was pretty
Yeah.
bizarre.
Oh, you
Um,
checked it? You
I know
saw
you
that?
asked me like,
Yeah.
do we need that type of review system? Do we need to be able to challenge calls on the base path? And I don't think
Yeah.
necessarily we do, but it's like, I mean, this was a little bit ridiculous that it looks like it's a fair ball, it ends up
Yeah.
being, or it looks like it's a foul ball. It's going to be a foul ball. Ty France lets it roll, but it kind of stopped rolling on the line. So
Yeah. I don't know. Like even the announcers were like, "Hey, there's separation there," because they did like two or three different camera angles. If you check out, I'm sure there's a lot of highlights, but I mean, I was kind of like, rage baiting you into do we need that? But it's just like, man, it just looked so clear to me and to a lot of other people, and for him to call it fair, and then for them to review and get to home base, and home base to talk to him, and for that umpire to show no change in his face, and to just be like, no, basically, I'm not even. It was what it was. It just, I don't know. You can make a call, but you don't got to be a hard ass when we let you know what's going on. Because unlike a strike behind us happening, that happened right in front of a lot of people, and yeah, it just looked a little funky, just a little
yeah,
funky.
two things to add is that, so I guess the real reason it happened, and is that okay, even though it might have been clearly a foul ball, is that
Mm,
the call on the field has to stand. It's not a reviewable
yeah.
decision.
Right,
And so
right,
for that
right,
reason,
right.
I'm like, okay, I see how he could have seen that was fair and called that on the field.
Mm,
And the other thing is that I think people are mostly even more upset about this because it ended Mason Miller's 34 and two-thirds scoreless inning streak dating back to last
oh,
season.
even worse. Yeah,
And
okay, yeah,
so,
even yeah, come on. That
yeah,
that's insult to injury there for the way that ends somebody's, their momentum. That's tough.
yeah. So
Tough.
that's that's kind of interesting.
Unfortunate.
Oh
Yeah,
boy,
unfortunate.
you know what I didn't even realize.
Huh.
So today,
Yeah.
I don't know how long ago this actually happened, but apparently the Phillies fired their manager as well today,
I did see that earlier. Yeah.
Rob
Yeah.
Thompson. Which I remember they fired. I forget who it was. I think it was Joe Girardi was their manager or something, and they fired him and then brought in
Mm.
Rob Thompson as the interim back in 2021, right? 2022 was it? It was 2022, and Thompson after taking over in June that year, leads them to the World Series where they lose to the Astros.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Now, start the season off 9-19, and they fired him. You know who's taking over as the interim manager? Don Mattingly. Donnie Baseball has been a manager before plenty of times. Likely going to be a Hall of Famer at some point, with all of the success he has as a player. But according to USA Today's Bob Nightingale, apparently, so Alex Cora, the recently fired Red Sox manager, was offered the Phillies job before they went with Mattingly. Apparently, he rejected it to spend time with his family and take a beat. Kind of makes sense, but I did not see two coaches getting fired, and let alone that being the Red Sox and the Phillies, this early into the season. Both managers who have led those teams to World Series.
Right, and it would have been tough for him to take that Phillies job,
Yeah.
Like culturally. That's difficult.
So, to go right into another culture, yeah.
Yeah, just right into that when you more than likely felt wrongly terminated, more than likely. That's tough. That's tough. Yeah, I mean, hey, next man up, I guess. Hopefully, Mattingly can put it together. It's tough to see anybody lose their space, but at the same time, it's a business, and I'm sure they know what they're supposed to bring to the table and how you're supposed to perform. So when the performance goes in the negative direction, you know that your time might be up. That's a tough one.
Yeah. So that's some stuff to watch. Other things to watch. So other things I just wanted to mention. Connor Prelip, I think, who the Mariners faced yesterday, was actually better than you might initially give him credit for. You might think he's just some spot starter that comes up and is going to take a spot in the rotation while Mick Abel's gone. I think this guy's going to be a big league starter for the year, and I think he's going to be actually like one of the, maybe not a top arm, but like a top 50 pitcher.
Guy to watch, huh?
Yeah, Connor Prelip, pretty interesting. Connolly early with the Red Sox, super underrated, along with Peyton Tully making his debut last week, who's going to stick in the rotation, and he's going to make another start this week. And, I mean, he looked so good in his 2026 debut last week, 11 strikeouts, no walks. It'll be super interesting to see what he does this week. That's going to be one of the biggest starts of the week. Parker Messick, only 1 out shy of a quality start yesterday, but 9 strikeouts. He is turning into a top 30 pitcher in the MLB. Could be, he's going to be that Guardians ace at some point soon, it looks like. Obviously, Cam Schlittler and Nolan McLean in New York. Those two guys are, those are just top 12 or top 10 pitchers, both of them, in the MLB at this point. And, yeah, any other pitchers or players that you think this season deserve a little more buzz?
Not just yet. PCA is a force. I definitely want to make sure we all remember that.
Oh yeah. And did you see what he said about the Dodgers? Like he was having some beef in the media. Yeah.
Yeah, he was having tough words, and I kind of looked into it. That it kind of goes back to just how his dad raised him. He's really not gonna put up with any nonsense from the Dodgers. But he plays the game hard, and I expect competitors to compete. But to go off the pitching thing you're talking about, I was gonna ask you. Might be kind of a hot take, but is it even worth it to be a right-handed pitcher anymore? It seems like the stock in the left arm and having some stuff is so high that's the way to be. So that's a question for you.
Yeah. I would not agree. I think that I think there's a point for lefties and righties, and simply, you go back to the bullpen of it all, right? You need pitchers, because lefties, are going to be better against lefties, and righties are going to be better against righties. Some lineups have a lot of left-handed hitters. I think the same. I was thinking the same thing a week or two ago with hitting.
Right.
Like, oh, be like these lefty hitters are much more valuable than the righty hitters. Like, because they're able to take on the righty pitchers, which is more of the MLB, which is more of the population. I think there still will be that premium to being a lefty arm, but I think that being being a right-handed pitcher, I don't think it makes as much of a difference, because there's always going to be kind of both-handednesses in the sport. I think it is worth watching over the next 10 years, 20 years, or in our lifetimes. Will we see the MLB will it be like in 20 years? Oh, like the MLB is 70% left-handers.
Yeah, I mean,
Would that be wild or what? Yeah, but at that point, then the right-handers become more valuable because there's more lefties, and then the righties are better at hitting the lefties. So it does kind of boomerang back around, but that is something, I'm curious to watch over the course of our lifetimes.
For sure.
And I think we're going to wrap there. Thank you guys for tuning in to another edition of the 1-0 podcast. Just 1 month in, we appreciate all of your support. Make sure to go subscribe to Don's channel as well. He's got some, new music coming soon. And one thing we want to end off with, if we were to have a walk-up song this week, what would you have your walk-up song be? Like, what's been I'm just asking, like, what's been in your headphones? Give the people one song to listen to.
Yeah, I was just thinking, there's only a few things that were in there, but for me, the theme has been JID. I'll go with JID. God Does Like Ugly. So if they gotta check out an album to kind of lead you into your fight, I've been rocking that. That. I don't really have a certain song, maybe Glory. I like that one so far, but I'm still working the album. But yeah, JID, JID. Yeah.
All right, I gotta go with the song that I just discovered from an artist I just discovered who's from California, from Watts. Shout out to Watts, California. Okay. And I think it's a pretty big artist now, but Pay Gotti, the song "Stranger." I'm gonna have to play it for you after this. Obviously, can't play it on YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I haven't heard it.
But
right, yeah.
If I was walking up, I feel like I would be like changing my walk-up song constantly. Like, cause whatever's in my headphones, whatever that one banger is in my headphones, that's the one. I'm changing it like every week, every day, and it's like.
I see you. That's a different type of approach. Guys are so ritualistic that I think they try to stick with one thing. It would be cool to see somebody who rotated it, and you could just see their, their vibe on their sleeve, so to say, through audio.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, that's where we're actually going to wrap. And remember, as long as you go 1-0 every pitch, stay stoic, and give all glory to God, you can't lose. No doubt. We will be back again next Tuesday. We got Randy Johnson's retiring the number this weekend. We got a whole lot going on. And no doubt we'll have a whole nother hour of stuff to talk about, if not two. So thank you guys so much. Make sure that you subscribe, and we'll see you guys then. Go Ems.